שיר בגמרא בבא מציע, פרק השוכר סרומנים דף פ"א עמוד בייז. This Gemara is divided into two parts. First is going to be two stories, and then it's going to be going back to the case of the Mishnah when a guy says, watch something for me, and they tell them, put it in front of me. And that's going to be the next discussion. Okay? The shir begins with 4 lines from the top of Daf Pei Aleph Amud Beis. Anu Beitrei. There were two people. They were going on the road. Chad Arich, one tall one, v'chad Gutzon, and one short one. Aricho Rochiv Chamro. The tall one was riding on a donkey. Ve'avelei Sadino, and he had a linen sheet on the back of his donkey. Gutzo Michsis Sabelo. The short one was covered with a heavy wool coat. V'komazgi bekari, and he was going by foot. When they came or he came to the river, the short person took his heavy wool coat and put it on top of the donkey. And he took the sheet of the tall person and he covered himself with that sheet. Now the reason that he did it, because he was afraid while he's crossing the river, the wool coat might weigh him down. So he exchanged. Now the Gemara also thought that he did it with permission. Let's continue. Water washed off the linen sheet, and therefore the owner of the linen sheet wants back to be paid because he's a shoyel and shoyel chai bo'insim. They came to Rove. Chai ve'Rove says chai ba'Chai because shoyel is chai v'noines. Omele Rabbanon leRove. Rabbanon said to Rove, Amai, why is the guy chai? He should be potter. Why should be potter? She'ele b'bailemi. It's ba'alavim. He buy a shoyel. Why? Because in the same time when the guy borrowed the linen sheet, the same time the tall person is watching the coat. So therefore he's doing something. He's doing something for him. So it's ba'alavim. Yichsif. So Rove got embarrassed. Later on, the story was revealed. The Beloi Daita Shaklei, that the short person took the linen sheet without permission. Beloi Daita Yusvei, without permission, he put his wool he put his coat on the donkey. Therefore, the guy is not doing anything for him. Rashi. That's the end of the story. Second line from the top line in the Rashi. Sadino, says Rashi, shel pishon, made for flax. And water don't weigh it down. And that's why Rashi explains why did he exchange his wool coat with a sheet. Sarbelo, says Rashi, gluf kirosh kutz. A coat that is called kutz in Old French. Vushel tzemer, it's made out of wool. Ve'arbe mayim nivloim bo, and a lot of water gets absorbed in it. Umachbidim oisoi, and weigh him down. Therefore he took off the wool coat when he's and he covered himself with the sheet. So Rashi explained why is it ball of him. In the time when the guy borrowed the sheet, the mashil was working for the shoyel. How? Because he carries wool coat on his donkey. And he was passing it over on the stream of water. Back to the Gemara, another short story. So this story has to do the previous story because it shows that Rove pasken wrong, and it came out that he didn't pasken wrong. Zog the Gemara line begins with the word Ahu Gavre. Ahu Gavre was a person. The Oiger lechamer lechavre, that he rent out a donkey to his friend. Reuven rented a donkey to Shimon. Omerlei, so Reuven the maskir told Shimon the soicher, Chazi, pay attention. Do not go on the way of the river Pekoid because there is water and maybe my donkey can drown in there. To whatever your direction you're going, go on the way of Neresh. Because there is no water there. So go around, even though it's a little bit longer, but there's no water. So therefore you're going to be safe. Yes?
This isn't a case of Rava saying something and then we figure out he's right. The end is that.
No, that's a little bit different. Ozil, now the Soicher, what did the Soicher do? Ozil beuchel an Arpekoid. He went on the way on the Arpekoid. Umischamra, the donkey died. Now we don't know how the donkey died. It doesn't say in the story how the donkey died. Could be the donkey drowned or the donkey died of natural causes. Kioso, when he came back, Omar, he said, yes. I went on the way of the Arpekoid, but I don't have any, it was no water there. Meaning, I broke the rule and I went the wrong way, but it was no water in Arpekoid. Therefore, the donkey did not die from the water, the donkey died from natural causes. Now, in order to explain this next piece of Gemara, we need a little bit of introduction. Introduction is as follows. There's a concept called migoy. The translation of the word migoy means mitoich, from that. For example, let's just give a simple example. Let's say if Reuven lent money to Shimon, no eidim, no shtar, nothing, no proof, $100. Later on, Reuven comes to Shimon and he says, where is my money? So Shimon tells him, I paid you already. So we say, we believe Shimon that he paid him, because if Shimon wanted to lie, he could have said a better lie. He could have said, I never borrowed any money. There was nobody to prove him wrong. So nobody was there to deny what he says. So migoy, we said that's the concept of migoy goes the follow. From that, migoy, from that he was able to say a better lie and he didn't, believe him, and what he says now is the truth. So he's believed. Now what about if, the same story, Reuven borrowed money from Shimon, but this time he borrowed it with eidim. Now he has witnesses that he borrowed money. So now Shimon can say that he paid. But now becoming a whole different discussion. Because Shimon now doesn't have a migoy anymore. He can't say, believe me that I paid, because if I wanted to lie, I could have said a better lie that I never borrowed, because there is witnesses against him. It's called migoy b'mokim eidim, migoy instead of against eidim. It doesn't go. Now then we have a concept we discussed already early in the Gemara, the concept of anan sadi. When somebody said something against something which is very clear to us, not eidim, but everybody knows that that's the fact. We can be in a basement, we can be in a closed door, but somebody cannot walk into their house and it's dark in there and says the sun didn't shine this morning, or the Hudson River disappeared all of a sudden, because we know he's lying. That's called anan sadi. We are just like witnesses. When he says something against a common sense thing, it's just like eidim. Okay? Now this guy who says that he went to the river Narpakoid, he could have lied. He could have said, I didn't go. I went the right way. I didn't cheat. I went. He could have lied. But he didn't. He tells him, yes, I did. I broke the rule. I went to Narpakoid, but there's no water in there. So let's see what Rove says. Rove says that we're going to believe this guy. Why? Because if he wanted to lie, he could have said, I went to the other way. Let's read it inside. Omale Rove, so Rove told him, Male l'shaker. The concept of migoy and male l'shaker means what does he gain by lying? If he wanted to lie, he could have said a better lie. Male l'shaker, what does he need to lie? If he really wanted to lie, Omale could have said, I went on the way of Neresh. So therefore, since he could have lied a better lie, and nobody would have been able to prove him wrong, so believe that what he says now, that there was no water in the Arpakoid, believe him that it's true. Therefore, the donkey died from natural causes, therefore a soicher is potter from oinsi. Omale Abaye said to Rove, whoa, that's not true. To say amigo, the concept, what does he have to lie in a case of Eidim? Now, Abaye doesn't mean, I guess, in a case of Eidim, because no, we don't have witnesses of Eidim. Therefore, it means anan sadi. We know that Narpakoid is water. So what do you mean the guy comes and says no water in Narpakoid? So therefore, if we know that there is water in Narpakoid, so the guy cannot say, I went to Narpakoid, but there is no water. So he's already lying, because he said there's no water. Therefore, it was. We all know there is water in Narpakoid. We don't have to go send messengers to go check it out. Therefore, since we would have said, what he's saying now is already, we know what he said now is already a lie. So we don't believe him on this lie because he could have said a better lie. That's what we don't say. We usually say believe him what he's telling us is the MS, because if he wanted to lie, he could have said a better lie. But to say that believe him, that what he said, believe him on the lie that we know is a lie, because he could have lied better, that we don't say. Rashi. B'mokem Eidim says Le'ele Kerashi Danan Sadi. We are just like witnesses. She'eno Yisaderech V'lo Mayim, because we know that Nahar Pekoid, we all know that there is water there. Now I just want to clarify a very interesting thing. We see Omar Rove says we should believe him, and Abaye told us we should not believe him. Now, if you look at the point, the halacha is like Abaye. Now, some people change from Rove, the argument between Rove and Abaye, they changed it between Rabbi and Abaye. Why they changed it? Because they say that we all know in any machlokes between Abaye and Rove, the halacha is like Rove, except from 6 places, which comes in Rosh Teves Yud Ayin Lamed Ya'al Kuf Gimel Shlos Mem Ya'al Kagam, which we're not going to go into it. You can research it in the Gemara Elu Metzias. Now, in this machlokes, the halacha is like Abaye, and it's not one of the 6 Ya'al Kagam. So therefore, it doesn't make sense to say that it's Rove. So therefore, some people change it to Rabbi. Other Mefarshim say we don't have to change anything. Why not? Because Rove said his psak, and Abaye told him it was wrong, and Rove agreed. So it was a machlokes. He was moide. So therefore, it's all good. Okay, now we're going to the next sugya. Shmoyli v'omer anach lefonai. Okay. We'll learn, I just want to give an introduction. We learned in a Mishnah before that if Reuven tells Shimon, watch something for me. Now he meets him in the street and he says, watch something for me. He walks on Kingston Avenue and says, watch something for me. And he tells them, put it in front of me. What is in the word, put it down in front of me? Put it down in front of me. The Mishnah says, Shomer Chinam, which means, in the word says, put it down in front of me, it says, I am watching it for you. I'm not being paid, therefore I'm a Shomer Chinam, but he's watching it. The Gemara is going to discuss other scenarios. Now, what about if he says, Anach lefonecho, put it in front of yourself. Anach lefonecho is obviously, he says, you watch it. Why would he say, put it in front of yourself? Obviously, he says, you watch it. I'm not watching it, so he's nothing. Now, what about if he says, just put it down? In the words, just put it down. He's not a shomer. He didn't accept it, so he's not a shomer. Now, what about if he says, just put it down? He didn't say in front of me, he didn't say in front of himself. So now the Gemara is going to discuss what is going to be the halacha in this case when the guy says, put it down, just plain put it down. Did he accept to watch or not? Let's read the Gemara.
It's similar to
Yes, 100% correct. 100% correct. Good association. Okay, so we're starting with the words. Line begins with the word lo amrinon. Shmoyer li v'omer le'anach lefonai. We learn in the Eile Mishnah, Shmoyer li, want something for me, v'omer lo, and the guy told him back, anach lefonai, put it in front of me. So what the Mishnah says is shomer chinam. Why? Because in the word anach lefonai means I'm willing to watch it for you. Now, clearly, that story was in the Reshus Rabim, in a public domain. Omer Ravuna, comes Ravuna and he learns another halacha. Omer lo anach lefonecha. What about if he tells them, put it in front of yourself? Therefore, he's not a shomer chinam and not a shomer socher. It's an interesting expression. I know where you are. I know. It's an interesting expression, which means to say he's a nothing. He's not a shomer period. It's just a very interesting way. Why is he saying it in such a way? Good point.
Say he's not shomer.
Yeah, he's not. He should say he's nothing. He's not a shomer. Now the Gemara is going to ask a question. Let's see if we have any Rashi.
The question is about shomer socher because we wouldn't think he's a shomer socher. Because if he would be a shomer, then the least thing he would be is a shomer.
Okay, let's go back to the Gemara. Hibai Elahu, the Yeshivalite, ask a shaila. Anach stom mai. If the guy tells him, just put it down, stam. He didn't say lefonai, he didn't say lefonecha. What will be the din? What kind of shomer? Is he a shomer or is he nothing? So the Gemara comes to learn. Toshma, come learn. The Gemara comes to answer. Let's learn it out from our Mishnah. Shmoyer li v'omar lo yanach lefonai shomer chinam. When it says in the Mishnah, only by Shmoyli, and it told them, put it in front of me, is a shomer chinam. Oh, but the Gemara learns out, the Gemara is medayik, the Gemara learns out. Stoma, when he says, anach stam, without any other instruction, loy klum, is nothing. So perfect, we have a proof, you have a beautiful proof. Shlog dav deile ki Gemara, but just the opposite. From that, the Ravuna says, anach lefonecho, he told us that dino v'anach lefonecho, then who deino lo yishem echinam v'lo yishem b'socha? Only by anach lefonecho, when he says those words, lefonecho, then he's not a shomer. Ostoma, but if he says anach stam, shem echinam avi. He's a shem echinam. So the Gemara concludes, one second. So the Gemara concludes, Elo meho leke lemashma mino. For me, we cannot learn, because from the Mishnah, we're learning that anach stam is going to be a shomer, is nothing. But from Ravuna, who says anach lefonecho is only nothing. But anach stam, it could be a shem echinam, so we cannot learn. Now the question that comes about, if you have a diuk from the Mishnah, and you have a diuk from an Amoira, which one should you choose? The diuk from the Mishnah. So what did you think about it? Why the Gemara slugs up the learning out? Because we have an opposite learning from Ravuna. Ravuna is an Amoira. It's much less diuk that you're learning it out from the Mishnah. So the Mefarshim says, Ravuna was the Rebbe of the generation. When he learned the Mishnah, don't you think he saw the din of Anach Stam? But he decided to skip it and go to Anach Lefonecho. What does that show to us? That Ravuna himself, when it came to the din of Anach Stam, he had a problem. He didn't know what to say. That's why he skipped it and he went to right away to Anach Lefonecho. He didn't want to talk about it because he himself added out what to do with it. That's what the Mefarshim said. Let's see if we have Rashi. Anach, we have one Rashi. Anach lefonecho eino lo shom echino v'chulu. Says Rashi, why is he nothing? Kiven the omale lefonecho. Since he said the word, put it in front of yourself. What did he tell him? Siv, sit, unetal lecha omale. Sit and watch it yourself. I'm not watching it for you. So basically, when he said lefonecho means, in our language, our English language means get lost. I'm not doing it. Okay. Now the Gemara is not giving up. The Gemara is not giving up. The Gemara has another try. But in order to have a try, the Gemara connects it to another Machlokes Tanoim. Therefore, which is a very similar concept. Therefore, whatever the halacha is going to be like over there, the halacha is going to be also by Yanach. So what's the story? So the Gemara brings a case from a Mishnah, which in the Mishnah has three cases. The Mishnah has the following case. I'm going to say Baal Peh, and then we're going to read it inside, because we're going to appreciate it more. Okay? There were three people. They were walking in the market, and they had an issue with something that they were carrying or dragging. One of them had pots, a pottery, had pots. So he saw a good sale happening, and it was too heavy for him to schlep his pots. So what did he do? He knocked on the door of the next door neighbor. He was his friend, and he puts his pots in his yard. He put it in his yard. Now this time he didn't put it with permission. Another guy, he put his ox. He was walking the market and he saw another sale, and he decided, oh, it's too much schlepping my ox. So he put his ox again in the yard of his friend. Or another guy, a third guy, he had a whole bunch of fruits that he was carrying, and it was too heavy. So he decided to put it in the yard of his friend. Now, all three of them did not ask permission to put it. So the guy who put the pots did not ask permission. The guy who put the ox didn't ask permission. The guy who put his fruits didn't ask permission. Now, what happened? The guy, the owner of the chotzer, had his own ox. Now, his own ox had a good time. He smashed all the pots, he gored the ox, and he ate all the fruits. Now, they're all coming back from their beautiful deal, and they wanted to know what happened to their stuff. The pots are broken, the ox is dead, and the fruits are eaten. So they all want to get paid. So the Mishnah says clearly that since they didn't ask permission, therefore the owner of the chotzer is off the hook. Okay? Now, let's continue. Now, let's read the Gemara. Frag de elke Gemara, leime ketanoi. Leime begins with the word lamashma mino. Frag de elke Gemara, leime ketanoi. Let's say if the case of anach stam without the word lefonai lefonecho is a machlokes tanoi. What's the case? Now, before we said Baal Peh the case, so without asking permission. If any one of them, the cases that we said, the guy with the pots, the guy with the ox, the guy with the fruits, they asked permission from the balabais to put their stuff in the chotzer. Baal chotzer chayv, the owner of the chotzer chayv. Why? Because the moment he told them, come in and put your stuff there. What did he mean by the words come in? Come in, and I'm going to watch it for you. Therefore, very similar to put it down, and I will watch it for you. Even he didn't say, just like by the chotzer, he says, put him in. He didn't say, I will watch it, but we translating according to Chomim, I will watch it for you, and that's why it's chayv. So the same thing by Anach. Let's continue. Rabbi says, what? Anach Sam, that's the case. Rabbi says, in all the three cases, in not chayv, till the owner will accept clearly to watch the thing. He has to say, come in, I will watch it for you too. As long as he didn't say, come in and we'll watch it for you, he's not chayv, he's off the hook. So the same thing will be by Alach Stam. When a guy says, put it down, as long as he didn't say, put it down in front of me, he's not accepting responsibility. Let's read the Rashi. Leime Anach Stam Tonei. Let's say that Anach Stam is a Machlokes Tonei. Im Ichnis Bereshus, Sektorai Lekerashi, Mishnei Beperek Shoshan Orech Saporo, it's a Mishnei in Perek Shoshan Orech Saporo. Bekado, somebody had parts, Sheichnis Gederoisov, he put his parts in the chotzer of the Balabais. Veshavram Shoira Shel Balabais, and the ox of the Balabais broke all the parts. Or another case, Ichnis Shoira, he put his ox, Venotchoi Shoira Shel Balabais, and the ox of the Balabais gored. Or a third case, Ichnis Peroisov, he put his fruit, V'achalton Be'emtoi, and the owner's cow ate the fruit. The ox, or the behemoth, it says Be'emtoi, this one it doesn't have to be an ox. See, to break things, to gore, it's an ox. To eat fruits doesn't have to be a bully like an ox. It can be just a regular behemoth. Delicious fruits, why not? That's the only way I thought why Rashi says behemoth, didn't keep it as ox. The owner of the chotzer is chayv in the damages. Why? The chiyomar le'ul. Because when the owner of the chotzer told any of those three guys, come in, what did he mean by that? Ul ve'al taloch k'omar. He come in and I will watch it for you. Therefore, ve'u adin anach shloma b'shuk. And the same thing will be when the guy said, put it down. Why did he say put it down? Put it down and I will watch it for you. So we solved the problem with the word anach according to Chachamim. Rabbi Rieber, bekulo menu chayv. In all these three cases, not chayv unless he is literally accept responsibility. Why? What did he mean by the word come in? The whole, he says come in, come in and watch it yourself. I'm too busy. I'm just giving you permission to come in, but I'm not watching it. So the same thing will be, the same thing that it will be. When the guy tells him, put it down, what did he mean by that? Put it down, and you watch it yourself. So therefore, if usually in the Machlokes, in the Mishnah, we'll see who is the halacha. Over there, the halacha is like Rebbe. Therefore, Anach Stam without lefonai means I'm not a shomer unless it says clearly I'm watching it. Perfect. Shlog up the Gemara. Now the Gemara is going to slog it up that we're going to make a difference between a chotzer coming inside to a yard and asking Anach which is in the market. Let's read the Gemara inside. The Gemara is going to make a difference between you can't compare the case of chotzer coming in a chotzer according to Rabbi to a case of Anach, and you can comparing the case of Kamin and by a chotzer according to Rabbi to the case of Anach in the market. Let's read it.
You said Rabbi and
Yeah. One is according to Rabbi, we can compare, and one according to Rabbi Chachamim. Okay, let's see the Gemara inside. So first the Gemara slog up according to the Rabbi. Mimai, the line begins with the word Mimai. How do you know to compare those two cases? Dilmen, maybe. At kan lo kamre rabbanon osom. When did Chachamim says over there? Second one is Rabbi. Right, the first one is Chachamim. Yeah, I'm sorry. So let's start again. Mimai, how do you know to compare the case of Anach to the case of Kamin into the Chotzer? Dilme. At kan lo kamre rabbanon osom. When did Chachamim say over there that when he told them come in, he meant come in and I'm going to watch it for you? Ela b'chotzer, only by a chotzer. Why? The bas neturi, a chotzer, a yard is watched itself, so it's easy. So when he told them come in, since it's no big deal to watch something which is in the yard, therefore when he told them come in, he told them come in and I will watch it for you because it's easy. When he told him come in, he told him come in and I'm going to watch it for you since it's easy. But over here by Anach Stam, where was it? In the market. Shukola Barnituri. A market is not a place that watch itself. That means I have to make an effort to watch. So therefore, what did he tell him? He told him, you watch it for yourself. I'm not watching it for you. So could be, according to Chachomim, by Anach Stam, meaning he's not even a shomer. It means you watch it yourself. Now we're going to slug it up according to Rabbi. Inami, or Ad kan lo koma Rabbi Yoson. When did Rabbi says over there by what? By a chotzer. That it means that I'll means I'm now watching it. Elo bechatzeroi. Only by in this yard. Why? Because let me give, before I read the Gemara, I'll give a little introduction. When somebody gives you, when you're coming in somebody's house and you're walking with your stuff, there is two parts. Can I come in? Now when you're coming in someone's house, it doesn't mean you take over the house. It doesn't mean people of the house have to do things for you. So it's two parts. Come in, can you do something for me? Since there's two different parts, so therefore when he tells them come in, it means come in and you watch it. So let's read it. When did Rabbi said over there that what? That come in and you watch it yourself. Only by a chotzer. Because to go in, he needs to ask permission to go in. When he gives them permission to go in, what did he mean come in? Sit and you watch it yourself. It's enough that I give you permission to come inside. But over here in the case of Anach, no, over there it's a different. Anach is a little bit different because Anach is in the market. In the market, you don't need permission from somebody to put it down. I don't need to ask you permission to put it down. So therefore, the only thing that it's in the word put it down, mean put it down. I don't want it for you. Anach, what did he mean by the word Anach? What did he mean? And I will watch it for you. Why? The Isel Kedaitach, the Ifil is going to come into your mind. Anach, the meaning in the word Anach. Anach was sivna takomalei. If you're going to say that it comes to the mind that Anach means you watch it, that cannot be. Why? You have to put it down. I need your permission to put it down. You don't own Reshus Rabbi. So therefore, the only thing in the words Anach means put it down and I will watch it for you. So therefore, we come out to a conclusion. We do not have results. We don't solve the case of Anach. So therefore, it's a case of Sofek Mamoyne Lakula and Amoytze Mechabeir Olavaraya. Therefore, he's not going to be able to ask him for any money if he didn't watch it properly. Let's read the Rashi. The Bas Natura, he line that begins with the word Bashuk. The Bas Natura, Shein Oda Machnis Rova L'Toicho. A person don't put anything in a yard, only to be watched. Why? Then Torah B'Shmirose, you don't have to work hard to watch it. All the interloch komalei, says Rashi, shein shmir kosher, it's not hard to watch, so therefore you accept the watching. Next Rashi, the hilo is for reshus voile mishkal menei bit mio. Rashi just telling us how to read. We have to then do the nigan. Yeah, I need your permission to watch it. So basically, we finished the shir, and thank you very much for listening. Have an excellent week. Kabbalah Satorah besimcha b'pnimius.